Hope you were watching the show last night. A certain former president called us, and we spoke to him for about 22 and a half minutes. A more or less exclusive interview with President Trump. We are so grateful that he shared his time and also his thoughts on all kinds of things. We talked about Rush Limbaugh, of course. His good friend died yesterday at the age of 70. But we also talked about Mitch McConnell, China, weak Republicans, Joe Biden, and will President Trump run for president in 2024? He did not rule it out. Did not rule it out. It was good to talk to him, though. I mean, I miss a guy who just says what everybody is thinking. You know, Joe Biden did make a rare network appearance on television earlier this week. I asked the president if he watched it. He definitely saw clips. Let's start with one of the clips that the president saw of President Biden. This is President Biden from CNN earlier this week.
When you and I talked last, we talked about it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office, but a vaccinator.
Didn't have a vaccine when he came into office? That's not true. And it's one of the first things we talked about with President Trump.
Well, I saw that he said that there was no vaccine when he came into office, and yet he got a shot before he came into office. And it was already in early November that we announced it, but we actually had it substantially before that. And we were giving millions of shots and millions of doses. So he was either not telling the truth or he's mentally gone, one or the other.
Mentally gone. I miss President Trump. It was good to hear from him. By the way, it was basically the first interview he did since leaving the White House, where he talked about other subjects. And, you know, we talked about Rush. He talked about Rush with some of the networks, but he really expounded on a lot of things. We are very grateful. More on President Trump in just a little bit. We need him in a lot of different ways. Got to talk about Senator Ted Cruz. I am a big fan, seriously. This man's intellect, his eloquence, totally amazing. But he made a mistake, and sometimes when you're really, really smart, you do eccentric things, and you... Anyway, he flew to Cancun in the middle of that horrible storm they're having, or the aftermath in Texas, millions of people without power, without heat, and he went to Cancun. Somebody saw it, took a picture, and yeah, this does not look good. The senator should know that optics are a big part of being a senator, how things look. Yeah, you don't have any operational real control or authority right now, but doesn't stop other politicians from trying to look like they're in charge in the middle of a crisis. Just take a look at, as President Trump called him, fake tears Chuck. Chuck Schumer. You know what? I'll say this about Senator Schumer. He works hard, or he works hard at making it look like he works hard. Look at that podium. His staff takes it basically everywhere on the weekend so he can look like he's in charge. This is some throwaway news conference he did a while back. Nobody remembers what it was about, but yeah, he's everywhere, Chuck Schumer, and that's part of being a politician. We'll see how this ultimately affects Senator Cruz. Again, I like him. I hope he weathers this storm. Oh, speaking of storms, yeah, Cory Booker used to grab a shovel when he was mayor of Newark and help out the neighbor. Made for a great picture. I always thought he should be worried about systemic snow removal. You know, everybody, not just one driveway. Now it's systemic racism, which is a lot easier and a lot more fun for these politicians to talk about, actually. Oh, and here's something that I think warrants Senate investigation, or at least some sort of public inquiry. This guy, John Sullivan. Have you heard about him? He's the Black Lives Matter activist who was arrested for his cameo appearance on Capitol Hill on January 6th.
Rip Trump out of that office right over there. Pull him out that. Nah, we ain't about waiting until the next election. We about to go get that mother.
Yeah, he's a bad guy. I was hesitant there, but I remember this from the summer. That's bad stuff, talking about violently removing the president from the White House, okay? But this is the kind of person that CNN is in business with. CNN, virtue signaling left and right, even when it comes to those they pick to present the news. I'm not too familiar with CNN these days. They're very biased, very boring. I've noticed her from time to time. Brooke Baldwin, well, she's leaving the network. Now, sounds like she really worked hard there, worked her way up the ladder, got her afternoon show. But that's it. She's calling it a career. You tell me why she's leaving.
There is just more I need to do. More I need to do outside of this place, outside of the walls of this place, a place I have been privileged to call home now for 13 years. And, yep, we are still in a pandemic, and no, I don't have a job I'm jumping right into. And yes, I'm feeling very vulnerable.
Wow, that's quite a move. So, we talked about optics earlier, and a lot of folks do this in politics. What does it all mean? And you connect the dots, and I happen to see this thing in Mediaite, an interview that Jeff Zucker, the head of CNN, did. And here's the direction Zucker is going in CNN. They talk diversity of the new CNN lineup. We are committed to making sure that we also look like America. This, again, in the wake of the Brooke Baldwin announcement. They are making some changes there. And we'll see further along in the article, nearly all of these promotions are for people of color. That's fine, I guess. I mean, look, Brooke Baldwin, does she not look like America? You saw her a moment ago. She's a white woman. What's the issue here? When I see this kind of language, we want to look like America, it makes some people uncomfortable, like me, because there are people out there who suddenly say that I don't look like America, or you don't look like America. What does America look like? I don't think it's supposed to have a look. Do you? What about our character? What about what's on the inside? What about our work ethic? Those kinds of things. No. More and more, it's about what we look like and what check in a box that some employer can brag about. I don't like it. You don't like it. But no one's talking about it. Or there are hushed tones here and there. It's one of the reasons why I miss President Trump. He was not afraid to tackle such issues. Now the rest of us are worried, looking back and forth. Are we going to be canceled? Okay. Are we going to be, someone going to say we're racist? We're not racist. We just want everybody to be judged on the merits, not on things we can't control. Because when elite institutions like CNN, when they do this and they virtue signal in corporate America, guess what? It kind of pervades society, ultimately. You're a trucking firm. Are they going to come around and say, we don't have enough of that color or this color. We've got too much of you guys or you girls. It's a slippery slope, and I don't like it. Fair enough? Let me know via social media, all right? One more thing about Joe Biden and that CNN town hall that the president, I think, watched the other night. He started things off on a very peculiar note.
And you enjoy being home with the baby more. And I don't want to hear that.
I do, yes. Yeah, he's 9.5 months, so I'm very happy.
No. Everybody knows I like kids better than people.
Did you catch that? Kids better. One more time.
Everybody knows I like kids better than people.
Oh, man. Kids are people, number one. Number two, yeah, that kind of sounds like Joe. So we've seen this part of Joe before. Kids are people, too, by the way. I remember this growing up. It was a variety show they used to have in between cartoons on Saturday morning. Pump up the volume, please. Anyway. Kids are people, too. And, Joe, when COVID is over and they let you around more people, you got to remember that when the kids show up, all right? I'm not going to show too much of this footage, but somebody should have stopped you a long time ago. We'll be right back.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.